Welcome and thank you for joining the Spy Shack podcast, the podcast where super fans of Survivor get together and talk the latest episode of Survivor. Today we'll be talking episode 5 of Survivor's Heroes, Healers, and Hustlers. And it's what was it called? The past
will eat you alive.
The past will eat you alive. Thank you. Let's go ahead and we've done this pretty much all season. We're going to be asking everybody how they're doing and to give us one word on what they thought. One word to describe the episode. So let's go with Randy. Randy, how are you doing and what is your one word?
I'm doing pretty good. It's great to be back here again. My one word is I'm going to go with devastating.
Okay, I can see that. And Mark?
I'm doing great. Having a great morning after a great show. And my word is going to be disappointing.
And Kim?
I'm doing good, and I just want to say I love and miss my son every day, and I'm going to go with disappointing. And God, it's not the word I wanted, but I can't think of the word I want because I only could describe short end of the stick. I don't know how to describe the word I mean.
And I am Saul. I'm Perspective, your host, and what would I choose for my word? Betrayal. I think that will, and I'll explain why I believe.
I think that's my favorite word. I think that's, I really think that's great.
Those of you in the chat, you can tell us what your word is, and we'll come back to you later on. All right, so let's go into the episode. We actually do get a post-tribal this week in the chat, and it's we get, was it Levu? How do you say that?
Yep. Levu.
All right, Levu goes back to tribe, and we get the pretty much Ashley kind of figuring out what's going on. Would you buy Joe's story that it was all Ashley's face? So I think we talked about it a little bit last week, but
I definitely do. Ashley even kind of called herself out on it. You even hear her say, like, yeah, I know I made a face, and I tried to catch myself when I did it. And I do think the whole time that Joe was going to use the idol on himself, but I do think that Ashley kind of helped that along by giving it away with her face.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Randy. I think Joe always had intentions on using the idol on himself. But then he got a way out of it by saying she made a face, and she did. So that was his, like, what's the word I want? I'm clueless today. But yeah, I agree with Randy. That's what he was going to do anyway. But she saved him by making that face, and it was his excuse. Look, I had to use it. I knew they were voting me out. And it worked, because if they would have voted out Desi, it would have been something different.
I'm actually glad they didn't vote out Desi, even though Alan was the one that ended up leaving, and he's on my team. And it's just, we'll see. We'll talk about Desi because I liked her this episode. Let's talk about, before anything else happens, before the reward, we get Ben in the Yawa camp, and we get those popping noises. I don't know. Have we ever seen that happen around the fire, or?
I understand what's happening there, because anytime you're around a campfire and new wood is put on there, that happens. I don't think we've ever seen anyone react that way.
No, I actually thought he got hurt. When I first happened, I thought he got burned.
Yeah, but it was really kind of heartbreaking to see.
Yes.
But he handled it well, as he does. But that was a nice moment to see. I don't really know how to talk about it, but that was really that was interesting and kind of like heartbreaking to see at the same time.
It took Ben from a likable character to, like, from right here, he went up to, like, this way, because not only is he likable, you feel for him, and you want to relate to him, and you want to go out and hug him.
He explained himself really well in confessional too, because if you notice, you don't ever actually see him talking to the tribe about it afterward. The only place he explains it is by himself in confessional.
Yes.
And he was the words that he chose was really interesting.
He was very open about it.
Really good.
And I like the way the tribe actually reacted to it. They weren't like I think Lauren for a little bit was not getting it, but when she figured it out when they told her, she was like, oh okay, and I feel bad for him. I'm sorry.
When it happened and we realized what was going on, like I said, I don't have the right word to describe the way Ben shared himself with us and opened himself up, but I can relate to PTSD, not in the same respect as him, but I suffer from it. And there's certain triggers that set me off. It can be as simple as a beeping sound, and it'll ruin a few hours of my day. So I completely related to him there, and my heart broke for him to know that something that people don't realize can be so small and insignificant to other people's lives is a major event in their life. He handled himself well. They gave him his space. And it did. I think it brought the viewers closer to him and more respect to realize that what happens out there, none of us will ever understand.
Absolutely.
And I really loved him more at that moment.
Let's remember that other past military contestants, some of them haven't been able to live out there. They don't feel like they feel like it's worse than when they were out. Of course, everybody's experience is different, but I think this is the first time that we see an ex or a veteran react to something that happens there that kind of ties him back to his service.
Right.
Yeah, and he also said that his wife and his daughter saved his life. Basically, they helped him tremendously.
So let's go with the chat here. I know it's active right now. Patty says her word is predictable. Shell says who like. Doug says deflated, and I think Mark, you said you almost went with deflated, right? I think Shell added a different word saying vulnerability. I can't talk today.
Vulnerability.
Yes, thank you.
And that's a good word to describe.
I can't talk all the time, anyways.
Ben, right there. Vulnerability is good, and that definitely describes him.
So let's get to the reward challenge. This challenge is very similar to, I think, to the one in Millennials versus Gen X.
Yeah.
Where David and Jessica were both struggling with the sand. So we get they're bound up their arms, bound up the legs, had to push the ball with the face, and then they had to make the baskets. People who sat out, Lauren and Chrissy, do you guys any shocks there that they were the ones that sat out?
No, I think it was a good call to keep Lauren out. Chrissy maybe a little, but no. But definitely, I think Lauren is a good physical person, but I think this.
But not for this.
Not for this. This is not something that's easy, and this was not her strong suit. This would not have helped her.
But you know whose strong suit it was your girl Desi.
Desi,
yes. She dominated this.
This.
She's the one that got him. Impressive. Yeah,
she beasted through. She was so freaking. I don't know how she did it, but she managed to move her body in the right way to get up and down. It was amazing. She's a beast.
Well, I think one thing that she did a lot better than other people is she didn't, just because her arms were bound, she didn't forget about her hands. Yeah, she still used her hands to propel herself, and that I think really helped her.
Mm-hmm, I agree.
I don't know this is the first time I noticed this, but she said that the other day she was a beauty pageant contestant, a winner, right? But she looks pretty strong, like her build. Yeah.
Yeah, she talked about that in a lot of her preseason stuff, that she does like weightlifting, and I have a coworker who has that same sort of background of beauty pageants and powerlifting. So I remember telling her, like, this is your girl. Like, this is this is who you need to be rooting for. And so because if you look at her, she's real strong.
Yeah. She is. And I can see she's a beauty contestant. She's very pretty. She's pretty, she's athletic, and she's smart.
I remember, and this is just talking about the women on the season. In Facebook, people were complaining about how the girls are dressed and out there in their in their bikinis and they're out there in underwear. I don't think that that's the case for everybody. Everybody gets chooses what they want to be out there. You see Desi, you see Rourke. They were really conservative on what they chose to go out there. So I don't think that's a.
Let me say something about the people who are saying something about what they're wearing. One, you don't know how hot it is out there. Two, a bra and a bikini top are no different. They're covered up. I mean, it has to be hot. They want to be comfortable. Mm-hmm. If I was out there, I would have my bra on, and that would be it. Why would I put a t-shirt on to be hot? Good for them. And you know what? Whatever makes them comfortable is fine. It's none of our business.
So let's. What do you think of the reward? The coffee, the tea, and the pastries.
Coffee. You know what it is? I always have the problem with the coffee reward, and this is why. It's going to go right through you, and that's not what you want. And
that's what Ryan said.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's not what you need on your stomach. When you're not eating and your stomach isn't used to something that's going to shock it, I don't want to get sick to my stomach. And that's what I always think about. Like, if I was out there, if it was a food reward like that and I lost, I'd be like, whatever. I'm only going to crap my brains out later. You know, I'm going to vomit. It's going to make me sick to my stomach, and I might not be strong enough for the immunity challenge, which is way more important than a pastry and a cup of iced coffee.
I think wasn't this the reward for in Ko Wrong when everybody went down, where everybody, like 3 or 4 people went down at the same time? Wasn't it like coffee or something like that? It was something really weak that it was like, why would you even risk your body for it?
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about Ryan. Ryan had a really, really tough time in this challenge.
He was really, really bad. I mean, granted, he did not give up, but he struggled. Yeah. And like I said, I can't judge because I don't know how I would do. I don't think you really have to balance that ball and, you know, get right in the spot. Because if you're not balancing it on your head right, it's going to fall. And it fell repeatedly on him. I felt bad.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, I know that you want to win, but I cannot understand Soko's decision to sit Chrissy out in this challenge.
Who would you have sat out?
I would have probably sat out Ryan.
Well, the thing is that Ryan is one of the weaker ones.
Yeah, so I would have sat out Ryan in the regular challenge. Yeah, immunity before I would have, because rewards aren't that important to me. In the big scheme of things, I don't care about a reward.
I remember there was a season where they decided to do that, and they were like, "What are you doing?" They ended up losing the immunity because they went in the strong people in the reward, and then they had all the weak people in the immunity. And I forgot what season it was. I don't even. It might have just even been Game Changer.
Who was the one that got pulled from the game because he basically stuffed himself and got sick?
Joe.
He ate all the meat. Like he was just
it was Joe.
Yeah. I mean, that's what happens. Your body is in starvation mode, and then you're shocking it by shoving all this food in your mouth.
So Ryan struggles. Devin, Lavu and Yawa are shooting the baskets, and Ryan is still struggling. Devin finishes the basket for Lavu. Cole, it was Cole, right? They're shooting the baskets for Yawa. Any surprises here in this challenge?
Yeah, Cole definitely, like, he's one of those guys that, like, I think works out in the gym a lot, but like isn't really like good at sports. Like, looking at the way he was shooting baskets, it looked like that was a new concept.
They were going like straight up.
Yeah, that was a struggle. He does mountain climbing. We'll let him keep his rock climbing, but other than that, nothing too much. I really thought there might have been a chance that JP was in a catch up at the end if he like would have had a chance to shoot.
I agree. I thought that
they made it right before that, but
I was expecting JP to put everybody on his back and just like carry him. I mean, he's a fireman, right? So
yeah, exactly.
So let's talk about the tribes in this challenge, just and separate. Guys in the chat, what did you all think of the Lavu tribe? And I'll ask Mark to talk to us about the Lavu. Mark,
what's up? Oh, yeah. So Level Kevin first, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see how they bond with each other after what happened, the big bombshell at the last tribal council, and Devin actually realized that they should hook up because there are two healers on the tribe against them. So, yeah. So there's that.
I mean, we all saw this coming, right? There was no way Devin was gonna join Joe, and
No.
I think last week we said that Desi would jump at the opportunity to betray Joe if that, and
and she'll be wise to do so.
I think she would flip on Joe if they lost next week. I think that they would flip. I think because they would tell Desi, listen, we're gonna go to Rocks, and at this point, it's gonna be you and me. So one of us are gonna go home, right? If you're risking your game on a 50-50 shot, that you're gonna stay. Is Joe worth it?
And Desi knows what's good for her in the game, and she doesn't go with blind loyalty, and she's gonna do it if it comes down to it.
I agree.
And I think we said last week that we feel like she's a lot smarter than we've been able to see because we've seen very little of her, but she was able to.
She is now, which is great.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. So
I don't. But the problem with Desi is I think she's very smart, but I don't think she knows the game very well. And I think that's why she connected with Rourke so well in the original tribes, because Rourke does know the game, and I think that's why they were really a good partnership that we didn't get to see much because it didn't factor into the story. But I think she's very intelligent, and I think she will learn quickly.
I hope.
Yeah, I think she can adapt. So let's go to the Soku tribe. Kim, what did you think of the Soku tribe this week?
I thought they did, I guess, poorly. A lot of it lies on Ryan and Chrissy. I thought it was hilarious that JP literally picked up Ryan at the end and tossed him on the yellow mat. I think Ryan came across sincere with his apology, but basically being weak. I think he felt bad. But I think he also knew that he had to bring up again his social game to try and keep himself safe. And then you see Ali say she's going to remain loyal to Ryan, and she's going to do her best to keep him safe if they go to tribal that night. And later on, you'll see why she felt so betrayed. And then Ali approaches him and basically says, I want to get rid of Chrissy. And he kind of feels he's stuck in the middle because Ali is his number one, Chrissy his number one, and now Ali wants Chrissy out, Chrissy wants Rourke out, and it's a battle of who does he stay loyal to? And you see that struggle where he doesn't know what to do.
I think, well, let me ask you this. What do you guys think of Ryan's whole thing of being so social that even if he struggles to open coconuts, he can at least get somebody what do you say, that they don't feel so bad about opening it because they like him?
Yeah, I think he knows his role. He knows his personality. He knows how he needs to connect with people. He knows he's not going to be the alpha male, so he needs to add a little levity to the tribe and be social and be everyone's best friend if he's going to survive. And I think that's really intelligent.
And Fishback said in Know-It-Alls in RJP that he said that Ryan reminds him more of Spencer than of Cochrane.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
yeah.
I can see that. Because yes, he's a little nerdy, Ryan, but I don't think he was as nerdy as, let's say, Cochrane. I think that Ryan's social game is better than Cochrane's social game was on both times.
Well, the thing here's the reason why I'm asking what you guys think of that is, let's say he does get to the end and he's still doing this. Is that gonna get him votes? Is that gonna? Do you think that they'll?
Who he's up against? Yeah, it'll get him votes. We've talked about bitter treason. If he's up against Joe, Joe pissed everybody off.
The problem is that people can get better with him because he's already willing to throw Allie aside, or at least not tell her what he's voting. He's going to do it again.
That somehow Ryan is going to wiggle his way out of that and talk his way out of it. I think that Allie will get over the pain and she will connect back with Ryan. And I think that's what's going to happen because his social game is good. And I think if it came down to Allie or Chrissy, if he had to choose who of them to vote out, I think he'd vote out Chrissy over Allie. I think he'd keep Allie.
And I think the thing for Ryan is the position that he's putting himself in. He's very rootable for everyone in the tribe. Everyone likes him. They see him as like we're trying to help him. He's trying to help us. Like I understand like that could go sour if you start turning on people. But I also think that the way that he's always positive to people. You know what I mean? Like he's always positive around camp, and I think he just makes himself rootable to other people.
Yes, and rootable to me because I love him.
I want to see how it's gonna go down once it gets down to the nitty-gritty where it's getting close to the end and he's having to cut people.
But here's the thing: once we get to the merge, which clearly isn't next week, they're gonna vote out those stronger players. The people who are gonna be in trouble are going to be the Coles, the JPs, the Devin. Those are the ones that are going to be in trouble. Ryan isn't that much of a physical threat for them to vote out. And he's likable. So here's the thing. The guys like Ryan, the girls like Ryan, and that's what he has, that ability. And I think that will take him further in the game because he's not a huge threat at the merge. But I also not going to say vote out Ryan.
I also think they see the social threat there.
They do see the social threat.
They understand that he's playing a social game. And
they said it.
Yeah, they absolutely said they all talked about it. And I think that you want to have a social game without everyone knowing that you're a really good social player.
Mm-hmm.
I think he needs
Sarah. Look at Sarah last season.
Sarah did really well with that last time.
I think he needs the merge. I think the merge is going to help him. I do. I don't think he's on the bottom of this tribe either. I think if anyone was on the bottom, it would be JP.
So let's go real quick to see because we actually didn't go back for Levu. Patty did have something on Levu. I think Desi is going to stick with Joe and go healer strong. Rourke said Desi was her ride or die. So They were pretty close. Doug was bummed that he didn't get to see a Desi Allie Rourke trio, which for me, I'm going for Allie. I think I think after 2 weeks I wanted to switch my winner vote to Allie. We'll see.
That is the thing. I think we have some really intelligent women on this season.
We do. We really do.
I think that usually I'm not all for like the women's alliance, but I think that could have been fun this season to have like a Desi, Allie, Rourke, Jessica, Chrissy sort of women's alliance that I think are all really intelligent, but
women's alliance, they never, for my opinion, and I'm a woman, so I'm not coming across in the wrong way. Women are more petty and jealous of each other rather than others. So when Chrissy and Rourke are measuring each other out, there's also jealousy there because both are pretty, both are smart, both are this. And you're thinking, how many pretty smart girls are they going to keep? I got to get rid of one.
Well, and honestly, it didn't really seem that way, especially for the healers, because hearing a lot of Rourke's exit press, those three healer girls were really close.
I think that the healers,
Jessica, Desi, were very close.
They said they would laugh all the time, and it was like they were on vacation. And the merge destroyed that rapport of the healers that sometimes it's hard to get back at the merge because we've seen time and time again, even with the numbers, doesn't mean anything anymore. Once they separate and come back together, numbers mean nothing.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and get Randy to talk to us about the Yawa tribe.
Yeah, the Yawa tribe was kind of interesting this episode. So it starts out us seeing people getting annoyed by Cole. We hear Lauren just like complaining about him, and she says that everyone else is getting annoyed by him, and she talks about how Ben's getting annoyed. We don't really see that the way that she's saying it. She's saying that Ben's rolling his eyes and getting annoyed, but we don't see that. So I don't know. I think it was funny hearing kind of Lauren just complain about it, but
she didn't like Patrick either.
Yeah, exactly. And then we see Jessica and Mike go to the water, but when they get there, Mike starts looking for the idol, and then if you hear them talk about it, which just kind of goes back to what we were saying previously, why didn't Cole find the idol? He knew where it was. They do say, Mike, why don't you try digging again? Like, they'd been there before. They had probably, with Cole, searched there before, didn't find it. So that kind of made me feel a little bit better about it, how we were all like, why aren't they looking for it? Why hasn't Cole found the idol yet? He knows where it should be.
That's what my question was, is when Mike found it, I go, I don't feel like he was as far as they did when they found Joe's idol.
Yeah, exactly.
So they even if they might put it in the same area, they might have put it, like, instead of 5 this way, go
just a different direction.
Yeah, 3 go 3 steps away from the raft.
I was kind of happy that Mike found the idol.
Yeah, I think Mike will be an interesting one with the idol, and this is another time that Jessica is in on the secret. Like, she's got a lot of information. She knew about Joe's idol. She knew about her own advantage. Now she knows about Mike's idol. Like, Jessica is really growing on me. Like preseason, if you would have asked me to name the cast, Jessica is the last person I think of. She just was forgettable blonde girl. Like she seemed very nice, very sweet, forgettable. But now I think she's got a little bit of game to her, and I really am starting to like Jessica.
I think that if she can keep this secret and not tell Cole, I would respect her game a whole lot more. She needs to keep this from Cole, because this is her way in with Mike, who, again, the healers, even though they lost work, still have the numbers. So she needs to keep on Mike's good side. So if they go into the merge, she could have Mike, and Mike might say, hey, wait a minute. You know, here's Desi. Obviously not Joe, because Joe is not going to work with Mike. But I just think that hopefully she keeps it a secret. I give her credit. I think Mike did a fine job with taking her there, because you can't search for idols alone like that. It's just too suspicious. You go away to pee, people think you're looking for an idol. You know.
So I was a little confused as to why she was so just nonchalant as far as like drinking the water while Mike was there. I'm like, why aren't you trying to look for it as well? You know, I mean, it wasn't like she was looking out because she was drinking water. She had her head up like that.
I think she was supposed to be the lookout.
I think she was supposed to be lookout, but she was not being a good lookout.
No.
Then again, as we said, we think that, like, I think that wasn't their first time looking. So I think she was kind of over it.
Anything we want to add about the tribes?
Not really too much. We didn't see a whole lot in the camps that we haven't talked about pre-immunity.
Yeah, no, nothing really happened.
So let's go into the chat real quick here. Doug says that Ryan is low on the list of people he wants to see win, and he liked.
Take that. I love Ryan.
And that he liked Cole's tweet, which I have not seen a lot of Survivor media this week. Just watched the episode like a couple hours ago, so it's so I have not read any what's it called, exit interviews or any exit press or anything like that. So I had to ask him what he was talking about. So Randy, you saw her. You said you retweeted it.
Yeah, Cole this past week had deleted his Twitter, and then he came back Wednesday or Tuesday, late Tuesday, with a picture of his face covered with peanut butter saying, "What did I miss?" And so, he was, and he's still feuding with a couple former survivors.
Who is he feuding with?
Who feuds with everyone? Just
Russell.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
There's still some of that out there, but overall, yeah, Cole returned to Twitter.
Okay, well, I mean, like I said last time, and when I say he was being so dumb on the episode, it is. I don't mean it to have people go and attack him, and I feel like that happens a lot.
Oh, and he even calls himself out for it. He's like, "Oh, what other secrets can I tell this week?" Like he kind of like he knows, like he probably was a little bit.
Cole is probably a really, really nice guy, but sometimes people just suck at the game. You
get excited. There's nothing to do out there.
Yeah,
you get like that would be my problem. Is I feel like I would be good, but then I'd be so bored and want to like. Oh, did you hear about this? And I
agree with you. I'd be so bored. I'd be gossiping. I'd probably be making up stories.
Yeah, that'd be my problem.
Because there's nothing to do. Those days have to be so long.
Yeah.
Let's jump into the immunity challenge. What do you guys think of this particular challenge?
I liked it. I think I like ones that have different steps. So this one started out with where you had to get the bags of rice and then push them through the hole in the wall and then carry them over the balcony and then a ball up the wall with holes in it. So I like ones that kind of have steps like that you can see the progression as how people are ahead or who's trailing behind. It all evened out pretty well most of the way through.
I thought so too, and I focused on Joe because I know we just learned how to swim. So I wanted to see how he did, and he did good. He was fine. He didn't fall crazy behind or anything. So
honestly, the water seemed pretty shallow where they were because a lot of times they were walking in the water.
Yeah, and side note, my son watched Survivor with me last night, and he looked at Joe and he thought it was Tony. That's what he thought. He goes, "Mom, isn't that Tony?" I'm like, no.
I said when I first saw him, I said it was Tony and Russell got together and made a
baby.
It can happen with them too.
I think the biggest standout moment from the challenge was Chrissy with the wall.
Yes,
that was my question.
She was awful, and I'm confused because why didn't she? Again, we'll have to get to trouble, but I'm confused on, maybe we'll say the editing, because why didn't she pass that turn off? She clearly struggled so much with balancing, and I'm not saying that I could have done any better, but she cost them the win. She ultimately is the one that cost them that win.
If you had to throw the fault on somebody, because we see Chrissy kind of want to stay there, but at the same time, she also gives the option at least once to Rourke. And Rourke says, I'll do it.
She's doing the wall. She's saying, you guys want to take over while she's already doing it. Like, there's nothing really you can do there. That was.
Yeah, I think she was trying to cover herself there. Basically, it wasn't like it was after when it fell and she's like, here, you go. It was in the middle of it. You can't pass off in the middle.
And hearing a lot of exit press, Rourke basically begged to sit out that one. Because she had told them all along, balance is not my skill. I'm terrible at balance. You don't want me in there. And they're like, no, Ryan's gonna sit out. You're gonna be fine. And so she knew they all told them very upfront the whole time, I am not good at balance. I shouldn't do the balance ball. And so that means if there's 4 people in the challenge and 3 people have to do that wall at some point in time, JP never stepped up. And that means Chrissy was gonna have to do
JP carried every bag of rice across the beam.
JP did the balance beam 3 times.
Bag of rice he did.
I think that's part of his training too, isn't it? Like just.
Oh, I think that was not, when I say easy for him. I just think he trains to carry heavy objects.
Yeah.
And walk with them because he's got to save people from buildings and stuff. So I don't think that JP didn't do anything. I think
that's what I'm saying.
And was he allowed to do the wall once he did the beam?
Cole did.
Oh, he did. So, but again, I don't know if if it was just she really wasn't willing to pass it. Because she kept on, she goes, oh, let me take my sneakers off.
Patty says that Chrissy got a Debbie Winder syndrome where she thought that she could balance.
Yeah.
She's probably a gymnast.
Or what was her name from Millennials Gen X who did not want to give up the balance beam and she ended up going home that episode? I forgot her name. But we all got mad at her at that episode because we were like, just let someone else do it. Yeah. Don't make it about you.
Who was it?
I forgot her name.
Was that Lucy? Or was that
Cece?
Or was that Cece?
Cece, yeah. Cece.
Yeah. That was it.
So but at the end of the immunity challenge, Yawa gets first of all, Yawa gets the lead. Levu catches up the balance beam. But at the end, Chrissy struggles multiple times, and Yawa wins. Levu second, and so who goes to tribal council for the first time. The actual tribe itself goes to tribal council.
First time Rourke was there.
Yep.
Yeah.
At tribal council at all.
So before we go to tribal council, we do go back to the camp, and we see Chrissy right away want to talk to Rourke. What do you guys think of the way she talked to Rourke?
She talked down to her a lot.
I was going to say that she talked down to her. She was kind of condescending.
Yeah.
I definitely did not take a lot from that. If I was Rourke, I would have been pretty much aggravated.
She did not confuse. She did not buy what Chrissy was selling.
I don't think anybody would have.
Sounds good. That could be a plan. Yeah. Okay. Rourke played it well. I think with that conversation, but they both knew that wasn't happening.
I gotta say, going into the season, Chrissy was not someone that I wanted to know more of or anything like that. The first 4 episodes, I actually really liked Chrissy. This episode kind of lowered the bar for me.
I agree completely.
Yes, I thought that she was she aggravated me a lot. I didn't like how she talked to Rourke at all. Like I said, sometimes I think it's a jealousy thing. They're both really smart women. And sometimes I think that women are intimidated by other really smart women. I mean, Rourke is in graduate school, and Chrissy is a smart woman, and I think that maybe there was a little bit of a jealousy with having really smart women, knowing that this, if we go to another, it's me or her. She knew it was one of them.
Doug says that the folks that he watches with are rooting for Chrissy to go home. So, Doug, bring everybody next week over here to the podcast.
I don't see Chrissy lasting much past the merge. Maybe 1 vote in, because I think she's gonna push people's buttons.
I honestly thought that the edit she got, I honestly thought that she played too hard and she was gonna end up going home.
Yeah,
she played way too hard. And I think that they edited the crap out of that tribal, and I think Rourke dragged Chrissy. And we just didn't see a lot of it because Rourke said in an exit interview that she called Chrissy out on something.
So we did all kind of have this thing that we felt that Rourke was in trouble from last week. We said Rourke's in trouble because she's the only healer, and healer hasn't gone home, and we see JP wanting to keep her, and all it took for him is Chrissy say, "Oh, Girls Alliance," and
I think the best description that people have been saying all season about JP is he's like a little puppy. He will follow wherever he's told to go,
and that's what Chrissy said.
Yeah,
Chrissy did say about him. He is able. She's able to manipulate him.
Well, and that's what Ashley said during Levu originally. That she's like. I think someone said he's a puppy. Let's let him be our puppy. Let's use him. And I think that that's what he'll do. He on camp to open the coconuts, and then you cut him at the end.
Rourke said in an exit interview that the first person to mention an All Girls Alliance was Ryan. So we don't know if Ryan had already said something to JP. Maybe they're forming an All Girls Alliance, and then Chrissy backed that up. And then that was all he needed to hear. Ryan already put in his head, Chrissy's confirming the All Girls Alliance, and that was it. He was getting rid of Rourke.
And then we see Allie and Chrissy get together, and they get with Ryan about possibly to get vote against. Who did they say they wanted to vote against? No, it was Allie and Work, right? That got together.
Yeah,
Yes,
Allie,
they're gonna
Allie
vote
and Work.
Allie and Work. Yeah, Allie and Work were
Allie and
pushing.
Work were together, and they tried to get Ryan to vote for him against Chrissy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's go to Tribal Council real quick here. What did you guys think of the Tribal Council?
I think both Rourke and Chrissy did I think Rourke did really bad. And
Why?
I think Chrissy did worse.
I think Chrissy
I think they both awful, but this is where I think Rourke messed up when she said she thought she was safe. I don't think she ever said
she felt she was safe. She said she felt the same way she was going into tribal than she was.
Yes, but he said, "What do you think you are?" And she said she thought she was something with the vote. She said something.
She did think she was a swing vote, which was
she said she was a swing vote, and then that's where I thought she did bad because I'm like, why would you say that? Why would you say that's basically saying you think you're safe? I don't care if you have an idol. You should never
look at Devin. Devin said the same thing, and he was safe. I think because she was the lone person from her tribe there, she could say I'm the swing vote, but I don't know. We can't say.
She wanted to convince them to let her be the swing vote. I think there was a little bit of that involved.
Yeah, I think both girls did bad at tribal. Chrissy did worse, and I think that we didn't get to see a lot of it because in her exit interview, Rourke said that she called Chrissy out numerous times on her BS.
No. And Chris, and the thing is, Chrissy be getting called out on her BS. She was just like, she rolled her eyes and just says no comment. So it was things like that that really dropped her stock in my eyes.
I did not like Chrissy this episode. I think that personally, I guess when I say personally, I don't know her personally, but on a personal level, she aggravated me a lot. But she did what she had to do to stay. If that makes any sense. I also think that Allie doesn't like Chrissy. And if we remember, Katrina didn't like Chrissy.
Yeah.
So we have to kind of point the finger at who might be the problem, and it has to be Chrissy. Because if all these girls are saying they don't like Chrissy, they're not saying they don't like each other. They're saying they don't like Chrissy.
So I think she might end up getting the edit we talked about last week that she might get the mom,
sneaky mom.
Yeah, and we've seen it happen that people don't want to vote for the sneaky mom because
they're not. I think she's going out at the merge.
The thing is that she can go with someone that's exactly the same, but because she came across as the mother figure, they feel even more betrayed by that than someone who they knew was sneaky.
Yeah, but I don't think they look at her as a mother figure. I don't think they like her enough. But it's different when a mother figure you like. I don't think they like her. I think they find her condescending. And
to some people,
down to some, because I think she thinks she's better than other people. So she talks down to them, and that's not what a mother does. She's not comforting you and backstabbing you. She's not nice to your face.
Yeah. But let's think about the real big question here at this tribal council is, did Ryan make the right decision? Like,
here, I'm going to say,
I don't think so.
Yeah, Mark, what do you think? Mark's been quiet. I'm intrigued to see what you think there.
I think Ryan's just trying to keep it strong with himself and Chrissy and Allie, and so that's why he swung towards Rourke. Chrissy, as of right now, doesn't really pose a threat to him or his game. She's tanking her own game, but she's not taking him down with her. So as of right now, it doesn't really hurt him that much to keep her.
But why not try to get with Allie and say, look, this is where we're going to go? Why blindside not only Rourke, but blindside Allie at the same time?
Allie was where he went wrong. Not voting out Rourke.
Allie was in way too deep with trying to keep Rourke, and I think that's where he didn't really have a choice.
I see what you're saying. I think that I don't think voting out Rourke was bad for Ryan's game, and this is why. Chrissy is still his number. Rourke is not. Going into merge, you were going in healers strong. You have to break that up a little. And I would have voted out, if I was Ryan, I would have voted out Rourke. Only because Chrissy is that number. She is going to stay loyal. You know she has that fake idol, so she can't play it at the next tribal because he already knows it's fake. So I think for his game, voting her out was good, but I think I would have been more honest with Allie. I would have just pulled Allie aside and just said, listen, we really have to get rid of Rourke, and we can't go in there and let the healers have the numbers.
The only thing now with Rourke gone, I wonder if they're going to be able to stay away from Tribal Council for another week.
Yeah.
I agree.
My concern here is there's a couple things. So your two biggest allies, Allie and Chrissy, don't like each other, don't want to work together. So why do you go with Chrissy, who is a independent ally of yours? She doesn't come with any extra people that you've worked with or anything else like that. She's weak in the challenges. You have that. But then on the other side, you have Allie, who is also good with Devin, that you're also good with, who's also good with, really close with Rourke. And now you have her, and you have her healer alliance. And I understand you want to get rid of the healers, but there's also the side of, if when you merge and all the tribes are even in numbers, then you become a little bit more of a threat. If there's 6 healers, the healers are going to be a huge threat at the merge and knock them down. You know what I mean? I don't know. I get why he did what he did, but I don't. Obviously, he didn't go about it the right way. I think we all agree with that.
Yes, that's. But
I
think he was.
I think there is still something to be said for getting rid of Chrissy there, but I don't know. I think that's a tough one.
I think he wants to keep his ace in his sleeve with that, knowing that she has that fake, or not the fake community idol, but
it's not worth losing Allie over.
Yeah, well, I understand that.
I don't think he's going to lose Allie, but I agree with what Mark said. I really think he felt like he didn't have a choice. Because here's the thing. There's a lot we don't see. So we don't know if we saw him try to save Chrissy at one point, and Allie was just adamant that she wasn't going to save her. So then he just decided, I have to go on my own. She's not listening to me. You think so, Mark?
That's kind of where I'm leaning towards.
I think she didn't give him a choice, and
I don't think Allie would be so upset and feel betrayed if he tried to save her. Yeah, if he had tried to save her, I think she would have had at least a glimpse of, a little idea that he might vote that way. But her being so betrayed, and we see it in the previews. Yeah, that I don't think she even knew that he was going to do that.
I think he was very loyal to him, because when he blew the reward challenge, she said, "I am not going to betray him."
Yeah,
and she basically chose him over Patrick, so to speak. Not that she would have voted him out. I mean, he wasn't even in contention, but she stayed more loyal to him than someone she knew.
So we almost got a little ahead of ourselves there, and we'll come back to it. But Rourke does go home, 3 votes to 2. And let me ask you, before we get to the draft and all that, do the tribal councils seem a lot less in depth this season, or is it just me?
It's not just
I just don't think there's a lot there when you have such a small tribe that barely know each other. I think that's normal in early tribals.
Okay, that makes sense. So,
how live do you guys think the decision was for Ryan at this tribal?
What do you say?
He was locked in. I think he was locked in.
How live was the decision?
I don't think. Yeah, I think he was locked in before tribal.
Okay.
No, he was locked in.
I think most people are locked in before tribal. I think something really has got to happen to sway someone's vote.
Yeah.
Most people have their mind made up.
So let's get to the draft. Pretty much the same from last week almost, but we'll head it over to Randy here.
Tell me when you can see it.
See ya.
You see it.
Okay. So in first, we still have Mark with 67 points with all 4 of his team, Ben, Jessica, Chrissy, and Joe. Then not far behind, we have Kim with 56 points, still with all 4 of her people, with JP, Ashley, Ryan, and Lauren. Then I'm in third with 46 points, losing my first 2 picks of the draft, Rourke and Patrick. But I'm still left with 2 strong people, Desi and Devin, who I'm very happy with.
I agree. They're very strong.
And then in fourth, we have Saul with 41 points with Cole and Allie, who are also 2 pretty strong people. And then undrafted, we have the person who has the most individual points on the season as a whole.
Which is hilarious.
I think we asked.
If one of us picked Mike, we'd probably be cleaning house on
He has the most points out of anyone on the season.
And then of course he has the idol.
Yeah, let's say.
He's gonna pass. He's gonna pass. You were Randy Saul.
Yeah, he has the same points as Cole and Jessica because they haven't been to tribal. But plus, he gets a point for finding the idol.
I don't agree that I don't think Cole is a strong player. I just think he's.
I just said Cole strong. I didn't say he was a strong player.
I think Allie is, and we can literally have what happened last year, and Mark or I could win the points, and and Saul could have the winner.
I think my 2, Desi and Devin, both could potentially win at some point.
They could. They
have a chance.
I don't think Cole's the winner anymore. I think if I have the winner, it's going to be Allie.
Allie has a chance.
Allie has a chance. Cole's not your winner. If you have a winner, it's Allie.
The reason I will lean more to Allie is because we've seen a lot of her. But like I said before, I hope it's not because we're going to lose her in a dramatic fashion. We're probably going to have a double episode for Thanksgiving, right?
I've been wondering about that. I think so.
Because if it's a double episode, something crazy might happen. Because they've done it the last 2 times. Thanksgiving.
Did they put out any information?
What'd you say?
Did they put out any information about it?
There isn't that far out yet. So I think we're thinking. So let me look at the calendar here. So next week we're gonna be down to 13, going into 12.
Do you think the merge is going to be the week after?
So then I'm assuming the merge is going to be on November 8th, which would be 2 weeks, which would be at 12 people. Just looking at, I kind of look back at all the most recent 18-person seasons, and most of them have had a 12-person merge. So I'm assuming that. And then it'd be 2 weeks after the merge is where you're thinking that we may have So it'd be 12 to 11, 11 to 10. So it'd be 10 down to 8 on the day before Thanksgiving.
When's the finale?
It's not set. It's not announced yet.
Okay.
8 to 7, 7 to 6. So I could see that. And then with the finale on the 3rd, the question is the finale going to be the 13th or the 20th of December? Because 20th of December is pretty late.
I hope it's going to be the 13th. That way I would be at the Know-It-Alls event the week before. That would be awesome.
It's the 13th. For you, I hope it's the 13th.
So I'm going to the Know-It-Alls.
They're coming, they mentioned in RJP today, they're coming to New York. Now I forgot what they said.
On the 8th. New York on the 8th, and then Austin on the 6th
of December. Yep. So so let's ask. Well, Randy, since you lost your player, your final words.
Oh no, my final words. I'm so sad about this. I think we are missing out on a very smart, quick-witted character. I think Rourke has a lot of potential. I think she's very snarky. A lot of people have been comparing her to Kelly Wentworth, of getting out too soon her first time around and given a chance to come back and shows what she can do. I hope that best case scenario for Rourke is for her to be Kelly Wentworth. I think that not only was she screwed in the tribe swap in numbers, but also she was swapped into a position with the only 2 people that had a cross-tribe alliance based on the day 1 advantage. So I think she's really hurt there. Yes, there's probably something she could have done. they could have noticed how close Ryan and Chrissy were and try to figure out what's going on there and really work with Allie to lock Ryan down, but it didn't happen. I think she was a fun character that we didn't see enough of.
I agree. I was sad to see her go. I wanted Chrissy to leave out of the two just from my personal viewership. But for Ryan's game, I wanted Chrissy to stay. But for my viewership as a fan, I wanted her to go.
I was gonna say, when you were saying her best case scenario is that she's a kid at Wentworth, I go, worst case would be she'll be a Monica Padilla.
Yeah,
she
exactly.
comes back.
I think she'll come back. She mentioned in her exit interview that she just doesn't have the time right now with school. It would be a couple of years. I think she said 3.
Which I don't know. What do you think? We've seen people come back right away that don't do so hot the next time around because they have no chance to examine how they played, and then we see people who.
You guys there?
All right, we're back.
Okay, I think we may have lost Saul.
That means we're going to lose the podcast.
No, I think it's still going for right now.
Yeah.
So we'll keep going. As we said, yeah. Sorry, guys, we had a little bit of freeze up.
Okay, yeah, I'm here.
There we go.
There we go.
Yay.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was actually able to see you guys typing and all that, and but I'm not sure what happened there. So let's ask the questions here. Who was the episode MVP?
I'll go. And you might not agree with me. I think, unfortunately, Chrissy was the MVP. I'm basing it on gameplay, not personality at this point. But I think she hustled enough to make herself stay. So my answer is Chrissy, don't shoot the messenger. All right, Mark.
I'm actually not gonna give an MVP this year because I actually think it was more. I actually think it was.
You have to give an MVP.
I think she was gonna stay no matter what. I think she was gonna stay. I'll give it to the editors. Because I actually thought Chrissy was gonna go home.
Valid.
They're given. Mark.
I'm actually gonna give it to Mike. Finding the idol and solidifying his position in the game. I think Mike at least showed up the best out of this episode.
He definitely worked for that idol. So good for him. I like him.
Randy?
Well, Patty just kind of stole mine, but since I refused to give it to anyone that voted out my girl Rourke, I'm avoiding that tribe and I'm going to give it to Desi.
There you go.
Desi, I think, competed well in both challenges, even getting called out in the second challenge by Probst basically saying, and Desi doing good in the challenge again. And so she put herself in, I think she's in the power position in her tribe, is you have Devin and Ashley on one side and you have Joe on the other, and she gets to pick which way she wants to go. And so I think that both strategically and physically, I think Desi is the MVP of this week.
She did really good. She's a beast.
Yeah.
So when I was watching it with my wife, we said Desi and Allie are the two people we actually only, other than Ben, Desi, and Allie are the ones that we really want to see win. And I go, what kind of edit would you rather have at this point? Who do you think the edit is favoring at this point? Let's say they are doing an edit, right? Would you rather be Allie and get all this information in the front and then hopefully see it pay off? Or would you rather have an edit like Desi where you don't really see much, but then when you start seeing it, you actually start seeing how good she is?
But Allie has been to 3 tribal councils out of the 5 episodes. You have to keep that in mind. Is that's why she has it. You got to think Desi is like
there was nothing for the first few weeks. We did.
Well, that's what Desi's like a Michelle. Desi's like a Michelle Fitzgerald. She didn't go to tribal until like day 21, so she didn't really get seen in the first half of the series.
Yeah, but at least Desi right now, we're actually seeing her, even when she doesn't go to the tribal, we're still seeing her do something out there.
Yeah.
But now we get to see her.
I think looking at the 13 people we have left, I think there's 8 potential winners left. So I like that. I like that about the season, though. I do like that about the season. Is that it doesn't seem obvious. It seems like there's a lot of different ways this game could go. And I think this episode kind of showed that, is that, okay, we're not going to stick to the healer, hero, hustler groups long term. Like we saw right today, we saw a hustler turn on another hustler and go with the heroes. I think that when we hit the merge, I'm really thinking we have a chance for a big shakeup.
I think so, too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think that we're depending on who loses next week. We saw the previews for next week, and we see Cole faint. So we don't know what happens.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm sure that resolves in like 5 seconds, and it's just trying to lead it.
Yeah, because we would have heard if there was a
You're gonna
medevac.
wake up and be fine, and then lift something heavy in a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's no medevac because we would have heard about it.
Mm-hmm.
So we stopped.
Well, Cole fainting. I mean, he's so muscular. Now he's
he beast mode cowboys all over camp.
yeah, and I actually don't blame him for eating all that. What was it, peanut butter, right? So I can see why his body's asking for it.
Yeah,
I skeeve hands and fingers a lot, and the fact that he was putting in his fingers in that would drive me insane. I would break the mason jar because
I mean, I see why he did it. I don't agree with how he did it.
I think he could have taken a broken piece of coconut. There's no reason to stick his nasty fingers in there.
So let's we've already pretty much talked about what happens next week. So any last words for this episode?
people stop complaining about the season. Deal with it. The season is how it is. It is building for the future. Think about how terrible the first 4 episodes of Millennials Gen X were. It was super slow and then really ramped up towards the end.
And it's considered one of the better seasons.
Exactly. I'd get so annoyed with people oh, the season's trash. It's been 5 episodes. We're not even to the merge. I think that's a big thing about Survivor versus Big Brother to me. I think Big Brother is great at the beginning and then gets really slow. And I think Survivor is the exact opposite, is that it's slow at the beginning and really builds up at the end.
I really agree with you there, because towards the end of Big Brother, I'm bored with feeds.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just the game is over. We need to cut this season.
Let's not forget also we have another season of Survivor that just finished that is really amazing as well. And that's kind of the Australian Survivor.
Oh yeah.
And that is kind of also that's kind of also
I think that's tainting. I agree.
Yeah, it's tainting what we want to see. But again, like I said last week, people always complain when there's too many game bots. But now we don't have we had a couple game bots in the season, right? But we're not seeing it, and people are complaining about it. So it's like you either complain because there's too much game body moves, too many big moves, and then when you get the opposite, people are complaining about it. So
I like this season. I don't know why people are complaining.
The thing is, with this season is that the trouble lines are really thin, and people are willing to go across the aisle for alliances, and I think that's what's making this season really interesting. More interesting than other trouble setups.
I think this is the difference between this 3-tribe setup where they actually themed it. Not everybody's buying into that. I'm a hero. I'm a healer. I'm a hustler. Like they did as I'm a brain. I'm a beauty, or before blue collar. No collar or red collar.
Yeah.
These people are like, I'm just gonna play because I want to play.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that will be it. So I'm gonna go ahead and ask you guys to say your goodbyes, where people find you, and such. So Kim.
Well, you can find me on Twitter at Kim_is_board.
I tweet a lot about reality TV, and of course, everybody knows I'm very opinionated.
Mark?
Well, you can find me on Twitter and on YouTube at Marco Polo 310, and yeah, my opinions are few but strong.
Randy?
You can find me on Twitter at Randy Knoop, RandyKNUP.
Oh, and one more thing I just want to say: Grease 2 is better than Grease.
Oh, come on!
He's still on there.
So I did want to go ahead and not to end in a somber moment or anything like that. Wanted to let everybody know since I do have another podcast called Nerds from the Crypt. We actually lost a member this past weekend, just suddenly, and we will be doing a special podcast this Saturday and releasing it. And I'm going to share it off on my Twitter. But so you guys, if you guys never heard Nerds in the Crypt, I would at least listen to us, share it on so people can get it out. So thank you very much for joining us today, and have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.